Hey guys, welcome to our daily encounter. In Acts chapter 28, we see the Apostle Paul actually make it to Rome. And once he's there, of course, he's still a prisoner, and they have him chained to a soldier. This is what it says in verse 16. And when we entered Rome, Paul was allowed to stay by himself with the soldier who was guarding him. And so the Apostle Paul was able to have a certain degree of freedom, but there was a guard there that watched over him. And you can only imagine what this soldier would have experienced while being there with the Apostle Paul. As you go on to read the rest of the chapter, you find that the Apostle Paul did a lot of gospel preaching, a lot of gospel teaching while there imprisoned in Rome. And so this soldier, and of course they were on a rotation. It wasn't just one soldier all the time. They would rotate every 3 hours. But these soldiers that would come and be there with Paul would have heard the gospel message. In all likelihood, with Paul directly addressing them and teaching them the gospel, but also indirectly through them being present when he taught other people the gospel. And through this process, it seems to be that the Apostle Paul made a pretty good impact there on the Roman soldiers, because in Philippians chapter 1, which is believed to be written at this particular time in Paul's life, this is what the Apostle Paul says, starting in verse 12. Now I want you to know, brothers, that my circumstances have turned out for the greater progress of the gospel, so that my chains in Christ have become well known throughout the whole Praetorium Guard and to everyone else. So he says that the Praetorium Guard, that was the guard that was kind of guarded the outside of where Caesar lived. And so in all likelihood, Paul is chained to these soldiers. They hear him speak about the gospel, either directly or indirectly or both. And then once their 3-hour shift is over, they go back to their other fellow soldiers from the Praetorium Guard, and they tell them about this guy that they spent the last 3 hours with and what they heard and all these things. And probably through word of mouth, the gospel spread throughout the whole Praetorium Guard through these soldiers that are chained to Paul. And so this ought to inspire us, to think about, there are probably some situations in our lives where we are chained to certain individuals. It might be that we're chained to our coworkers or chained to our relatives by blood. It might be different people that we come into contact with throughout the day, maybe waiting in line at the grocery store, or sitting next to each other in the bus or on a flight. There are situations where people are chained to us. In other words, they're stuck with us, as this soldier would have been stuck with Paul for 3 hours. And it's very important for us to take advantage of those situations. Those times when people are with us, even if it's beyond their control, but they're with us. We know we're going to be together for a while, so why don't we speak about the most important things, and the things concerning heaven, concerning God's ultimate purpose, concerning the gospel, all those different things. And so if we find ourselves chained to people today, that is, people that we know we're going to be with for a certain amount of time today, whether it's, again, our coworkers, or maybe it's the plumber that comes over, just people that we know that we're going to be in contact with today. And again, it may be voluntary, it may be involuntary, that we just share the gospel with them. Because you never know, they may go out and tell other people what they heard from us. And then those people might go tell other people what they heard from them. And before we know it, the gospel can spread quite rapidly. And so let's be encouraged today by the Apostle Paul. Anyone we come into contact with today, let's just share the gospel with them. Let's use it as an opportunity to share the precious things about Christ, and then let that spread. And we never know what type of good we might have in this world if we would just take opportunities and seize the opportunities, even in little small moments, to spread the gospel. So here's some things we can reflect on and think about as we do our reading today. With that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.